All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the post-game show, Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. Dan Tanner here for In the Paint, Nuggets, and Nets, where I'm live here at Ball Arena. Just got done with Coach Malone's post-game press conference. He was in a great mood, obviously, as the Nuggets get the 124-105 victory over the Brooklyn Nets here tonight at Ball Arena. As always, feel free to leave me your comments, and I would love to get your thoughts here on the post-game show tonight. So obviously it was the return of Nikola Jokic here tonight for the Nuggets, and a triumphant return at that. Nikola was his usual awesome self, 35 points for the Joker, 14 of 21 shooting from the field. So super efficient. Just took one 3-point shot, hit it, 6 of 8 from the free throw line, 12 rebounds, 15 assists, another triple-double for Nikola Jokic. I tell you what, Malone before the game was asked if Joker would be on a minutes restriction. He said, we'll see. He was obviously not. He played 38 minutes tonight. And also, Russell Westbrook. My goodness, has this guy been unbelievable this year for the Denver Nuggets. Also a triple-double. I believe that's the second time this year that Joker and Russ have both had triple-doubles in the same game. So, I tweeted this out a little bit ago from my account at DanTanner091. You can't take Russell Westbrook out of the starting lineup, even when Aaron Gordon comes back. I mean, you just can't. He fits so well with Nikola Jokic. He's playing so well with the starting group. Now, the question then becomes, somebody's got to go to the bench. If Russell Westbrook stays in the starting lineup when Aaron Gordon comes back, who goes to the bench? Now, I want to be perfectly clear here. I am not advocating for Aaron Gordon to go to the bench, okay? He's obviously going to be starting. Now, maybe the first couple of games he comes off the bench to ease him back in, like we saw earlier this year when he was out with the calf strain. They brought him off the bench for the first game or two, and then he was reinserted into the starting lineup. But once AG gets back and plays a few games, he'll be in the starting lineup. So that's not what I'm advocating for. What I am saying is Christian Braun or Jamal Murray, if Russell Westbrook stays in the starting lineup, one of those two guys is going to have to come off the bench. Okay? Because technically right now you have 3 guards in your starting lineup. The good news for the Nuggets is Russell Westbrook is so versatile that he's sort of their de facto small forward right now in place of Aaron Gordon being the power forward. And he's able to do that. The Nuggets have been a better team this year when Russell Westbrook has been starting. There's no question about it. The numbers say that. Their record says that. All of the analytics would say that. The eye test says that as well. The Nuggets are a better basketball team when Russell Westbrook is in the starting lineup. So this is going to be a really, really interesting test for Michael Malone, and I'm really curious to see what he does. Now, when it comes to, is it going to be Christian Braun or is it going to be Jamal Murray? If they decide to go the route of keeping Russell Westbrook in the starting lineup when Aaron Gordon comes back. Now, Jamal Murray left tonight's game at halftime with left knee soreness. An update from Malone in his post-game presser, it didn't seem like Malone made it sound to be too serious. He basically said, his knee was just kind of bugging him. Jamal said it just doesn't feel right. And Malone actually did kind of mention, this happens at various points throughout the season. And not specific to Jamal, with a bunch of different players. So it didn't seem like this was anything super concerning to Michael Malone. But who knows? I mean, who knows how long Jamal is going to be out for? So this actually might be, in a weird way, sort of a gift to Malone as far as not having to make a difficult decision when Aaron Gordon comes back to who to send to the bench. But I'm telling you, Russell Westbrook has to stay in the starting lineup. There's no doubt in my mind at this point in the year. He has been unbelievable for this team on both ends of the floor. He's shooting the 3 ball at a very good clip right now is Russell Westbrook. You know, for Russ, he was 2 of 5 tonight, but the 2 threes he hit, excuse me, yeah, he was 2 of 5 tonight, but the 2 threes that he hit were big time threes when the Nuggets needed them. You know, the Nuggets they give up 36 points in the first quarter, okay? And the Nets average like 106.5 points a game per season. So after the first quarter, it's like, oh man, are they going to really give up 120 to this team? After giving up 36, it sure looked like they were going to give up a minimum of 120 in tonight's game. The defense really clamped down after the first quarter. They allowed 23 points in the second, 20 in the third, and 26 in the fourth. Now, the Nuggets did have a masterful third quarter. I mean, they came out and just blitzed the Nets in that third quarter, led by Michael Porter Jr. I'd say about the first 6 or 7 minutes of that third quarter, Michael Porter Jr. was rolling on the offensive end. And the defense really came through. In fact, the Nuggets ended up having a 94-79 lead at the end of the third quarter. It was a great start on the offensive end. Like I said, it did slow down a little bit near the end of that third quarter, but that was kind of when DeAndre Jordan came in and Joker came out of the game, and the offense got bogged down a little bit. But luckily for the Nuggets, the defense was very, very good in that third quarter. Julian Strawther did start the third. Obviously, like I said, Murray was listed as questionable at halftime to return with left knee soreness. And the Nuggets, at the 6-minute and 53-second mark of the third quarter, had outscored the Nets 22-9. So they got off to just a blazing start in the third quarter, which shouldn't surprise anybody because for whatever reason, this year's Nuggets team has been phenomenal in third quarters all season long. And I've talked a little bit about this before, but in years past, it's a very interesting dynamic going on with the Nuggets right now because in years past, the Nuggets were really good at starting out games strong in the first quarter. It's kind of flipped this year. They tend to struggle a little bit on both ends of the floor in the first quarter, but they've been tremendous in third quarters this year. And a couple years ago, the Nuggets, it was flipped. They were really good in the first and really bad to start the third quarter. So it is kind of, I am curious as to why that's the case, but they obviously figured something out when it comes to starting the second half of these games really, really well. And that's exactly what they did again tonight. So the Nets did try to make a comeback in this game, though. I mean, they started the fourth quarter on a 6-0 run. That made it 94-85. Malone calls timeout. We come back to action, and then it's a 13-3 extended run for the Nets. There was another Malone timeout. And at that point, I mean, it was a 5-point game. It was 97-92 Nuggets at that point. And then the last, 5 or 6 minutes of that fourth quarter, the Nuggets just figured it out on offense. Joker obviously was back in, and they blew this thing wide open and ended up blowing out the Nets. I mean, the final score tonight, 124-105. If you're just looking at the box score and not watching the game, you'd think it was a blowout kind of the whole way through. But I tell you what, the Nets really made this a game down early on in the fourth quarter, and then Joker came in and closed this thing out. But again, it's going to be a tough decision what Michael Malone decides to do. Assuming Jamal's going to be back sooner than later, and assuming Aaron Gordon will be back sooner than later. If you go to my Twitter account, I actually have Malone giving us an update on Aaron Gordon before the game. He obviously was out tonight, but Malone said he's making very good progress and hopes to see him back in the lineup sooner than later. So it sounds like, according to Coach Malone, that Aaron Gordon is on the track to return sooner rather than later. But when that happens and Jamal is back and everybody's back, I really, really don't think that Malone can take Russell Westbrook out of the starting lineup. He's just playing way too well right now. And the chemistry between he and Nikola Jokic is phenomenal. I mean, you can tell why Joker wanted to get this guy signed here over the offseason. Let's not forget that. Nikola Jokic was advocating for Russell Westbrook to become a Denver Nugget. So he obviously saw something in Russ's game that was really appealing to him, and the type of style of basketball that Joker knew would pair well with his game. And I mean, we're witnessing it right now almost every single night. And again, both Nikola and Russell Westbrook had triple doubles here at Ball Arena tonight. They were both just absolutely spectacular. Russ goes for 25 points. He was a plus 21. Nikola was a plus 33 in tonight's game. Michael Porter, plus 19. Christian, plus 18. Jamal was a zero. He was even in the plus minus. Now, I get it. He didn't play the second half. But he was the only starter not in the plus column in the plus minus statistics. So it's going to be interesting. My heart says that I want Christian Braun to stay in the starting lineup, but my head is saying to keep Jamal in there. Now, the pros and cons of let's start with the cons of putting Jamal potentially on the bench once this team is fully healthy. If Russell Westbrook's in the starting lineup, this is what this is all predicated on. You do lose the two-man game between Nikola and Jamal. But I got to be honest with you all. The two-man game that's working the best right now is between Nikola Jokic and Russell Westbrook, and it's not even close. I talked about this earlier on in the season. Like, where did the two-man game go between Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray? I mean, it was non-existent for the first month and a half, 2 months of the season. And then Jamal, and I will say that was obviously coinciding with Jamal Murray's notoriously slow starts, okay? But it felt a little bit different this year because I felt like the two-man game never took that long to get going. And Jamal has been playing better over the last month or so. He has been. But he has not been playing as well as Russell Westbrook, at least consistently, on both ends of the floor. So the pro of keeping Jamal is the two-man game between he and Jokic. The con is if Russ goes back to the bench, you're losing the two-man game between Nikola and Russell Westbrook. And that's been the better two-man game so far this season for Denver. It's been far more effective. And Russell is a much, much better defender than Jamal Murray. He's more versatile on the defensive end. He's much more intense on the defensive end. And this is going to sound like a shot at Jamal, but I really don't mean it to be. But Russ is more intelligent on the defensive end as well. And you would expect that to be the case. I mean, he's a 17-year veteran. He's more physical on the defensive end. He's more of like the Swiss Army knife type of defender. He can guard, the team's best scorer. He can guard a big man if he needs to. I can't remember who he was matched up on a couple nights ago. Somebody that towers over him. I'm forgetting his name, but like Russ can defend, small guards or big forwards, and that's one of the special things about Russ and his versatility. So that would be the pro to having Russ start in the starting lineup over Jamal Murray, is specifically the two-man game with Joker and his defensive capabilities. Now, the cons of having Russell Westbrook inserted into the starting lineup and bringing Jamal off the bench is you are going to get a bit of a downgrade in your three-point shooting. You just are. Now, Jamal hasn't been lighting the world on fire from three this year, but Jamal is obviously a much more capable three-point shooter than Russell Westbrook historically. So it's going to be interesting to see, I just don't see a world where Malone can bench Russell Westbrook right now. He's just playing too well. So I'd love to get all your thoughts on this. Remember to feel free to leave your thoughts in the comment section here. My guy Kevin says Russ was phenomenal tonight. Yes, another triple-double for Russell Westbrook. My guy Cedric says, "Sup, go Nuggets." Thank you for listening there, Cedric. Let's see here. Marion Lou says Westbrook is a great addition. I tell you what, This is starting to look like this might have been one of the best offseason acquisitions in the entire NBA. As far as, non-trade free agent type signings of a veteran, as bad as the Dario Saric signing looks right now, the Russ signing looks that good on the other side. So Calvin Booth, swing and a miss with Dario Saric, at least for now. I think that ship has sailed, if I'm being honest. In fact, there was a funny moment in the pregame press conference with Malone. Marlo was asking Malone about, who comes in for Joker tonight first? Have you decided that yet? And he's like, oh, well, you'll see. He's like, is it DJ? He's like, you'll see. Like, I'm not telling you anything. And it was DJ. Not surprising because DJ has taken over that role, basically. I mean, that's essentially become DeAndre Jordan's permanent role, I mean, we obviously saw Dario play over the last couple of games, and Zeke Naji even got a little bit of run in there as well when Nikola was out. But when Nikola's in there, at least for now, DeAndre Jordan is the backup five. I mean, this is what, 15 straight games, I think, DJ's played in. I'll have to go back and look, but I don't even know if he played in 15 games total last year. And this is like the 15th game in a row he's played in. So, and to be fair to DJ, for what he is at this point in his career, I think he's been pretty good in that role. For who DJ is at this stage in his career, I think, and for what Dario and Zeke have given this team, he has been by far their best option. And I understand why Malone is going the route of DeAndre Jordan over Zeke Naji and Dario Saric. I mean, it's obvious. DJ's been by far more effective than either of those other two guys I just mentioned. But again, I don't believe that DeAndre Jordan is going to be the full-time solution as the backup five for Nikola Jokic. I mean, really, ask yourself this question, okay? Can you see DeAndre Jordan being the true backup five down the stretch in March and into April as the playoffs begin? Can you see DeAndre Jordan being the guy that comes in when Joker's not on the floor, consistently performing? I don't see that happening. If it needs to be for a game or two in a series, okay, I can live with that. But to have that be the guy, I just don't think at this stage in DJ's career that that's going to be an effective option. But unfortunately for Coach Malone and the Nuggets right now, that's kind of their only option. So either Dario Saric and Zeke are going to really have to show something here over the next month or so before the trade deadline, or they're going to have to make a move, like I've talked about a bunch on this show. And I really do think that Calvin Booth is fully aware of the issue they have at the backup center position. And it's been something that has been an issue, not just this season, but really since Mason Plumlee left. I mean, you could throw DeMarcus Cousins in there a little bit. And I guess as far as on the court production, Boogie was pretty good. But from what I've been told, he wasn't great in the locker room. And that's why they didn't bring him back. Because I honestly was kind of surprised when they didn't bring DeMarcus Cousins back a couple years ago when they hadn't. Wasn't a great locker room guy from what I've heard. And you've heard me talk about this as well, but the Nuggets take their locker room culture very, very seriously. And they should, because they have one of the best tight-knit locker rooms in the entire NBA. And I think that's one of the big reasons for this team's success. So it's, we're into the dog days of the NBA season, and we're starting to get into crunch time as far as the front office really needing to decide and make big decisions on, is the roster as currently constructed good enough to win a title? I would say at this point in the season, the answer is still no. They need to get a little bit better defensively. Not a little bit better, a lot better, because the Nets are a very bad team right now. And like I said, I think they average like 106 points a game. Well, the Nuggets gave up 105 tonight, so they kept them right around their average. But the Nuggets throughout the season have really struggled on the defensive end of the floor. So, I keep harping on this stuff because, like I said, I am looking at this team in this season every single time I'm on this show through the lens of, are they good enough to win a championship? When you have the best player in the world on your team, that's exactly how you need to be looking at this team and this season. And I pray to God that's how the front office is viewing this as well. When you have Nikola Jokic, a type of player that we will most likely never see in this town again, at least in all of our lifetimes. They need to do everything they possibly can to make a run at another championship. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be really fun and interesting. And like I said, you know, I don't envy Calvin Booth right now. He's got a lot of difficult decisions coming up. And I don't envy Michael Malone because he's got a lot of difficult decisions coming up as far as who's going to come off the bench. And, if you've listened to our midday show on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5 with Hastings, DMAC, and Tyler Columbus, DMAC has been advocating for Jamal to come off the bench for a couple of reasons. Number one, Russell Westbrook's been awesome. And I think he at least right now, is the better option in the starting lineup to pair with Nikola Jokic. I think that's obvious, at least right now. But number two, the bench unit needs more shooting and more scoring. And maybe Jamal Murray could provide that. Now, my pushback with DMAC has been, well, Malone has staggered Jamal with the second unit quite a bit. And it doesn't really seem to be super effective. He's also done that with MPJ, by the way. Hasn't really seemed to work all that well as far as helping the bench's offensive production. And when you bring in Jamal off the bench, the defense gets worse, unfortunately. So it is going to be interesting to see what Malone decides to do once this team is healthy. Obviously, this is all predicated on Aaron Gordon being back. Jamal left tonight's game at halftime, and we don't know how serious that is. Like I said after the game, it was encouraging. Malone, at least how he sounded and how he was talking about it, made it seem like it wasn't a huge deal. This could be a scenario where he maybe misses a couple of games, something like that. But we'll see. We'll see. This team has a lot of questions up in the air right now as far as being like true, legitimate contenders in the Western Conference to try to get to the finals again this year. So let's see here. DJ says, DT, you can take Friday off. Hey, man, couple things with that. I appreciate that very much. I love doing the post-game show, so it's no problem to me. This is my happy place, being here covering games with all of you. Also, my buddy Nick is at a concert right now at the Ogden. I'm obviously at Ball Arena. He wants me to go meet up with him. He said he's got a bunch of extra tickets. I don't even know who's playing at the Ogden, but he wants me to walk over to the Ogden after this show to come hang out and watch. It's like some DJ. I don't even know who it is. So yeah, we'll see. It's pretty cold outside right now. I believe it's like 26 degrees. My phone says 29. But yeah, that's what I've got going on. So I was like, well, I'm going to be downtown at Ball, so maybe I can walk over there. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But yeah, great stuff from the Nuggets tonight. Like I said, it sucked that Jamal couldn't play the second half. But I tell you what, Russell Westbrook has been a revelation so far this year. And I'll be the first to admit, I never said I didn't think it would work. I thought at the start of the year that Russell's poor three-point shooting would really be a detriment to this Nuggets team because they need more shooting. So that was kind of my thinking on that. But he's actually been shooting the three ball for Russ pretty darn well this year. We'll see if that keeps up, but there's no way you can take him out of the starting lineup right now, especially when Joker's in there. He's just the chemistry between those two and how lightning quick that developed, I think is honestly probably one of the most surprising things so far in this early half of the season, is just not that the chemistry is there, but how quickly they made this thing work between Joker and Russ. And if you remember, to start the year, obviously Russell Westbrook started the season coming off the bench. So he wasn't really playing with Joker a ton. I mean, Malone would find areas in games to pair them together on the floor at the same time. But, the first month or so of the season, Russ and Nikola really didn't play together a whole lot. Now that has changed. And the fact that the chemistry between those two has developed this quickly is phenomenal and very surprising to me. I will say, I do think Joker helps speed that developmental process up with other guys. I mean, just look at the Aaron Gordon trade. That was kind of another instant where it seemed like the first game Aaron Gordon was here with the Nuggets after the trade with the Magic, they were like, it was just instant chemistry. So I do think Nikola deserves a lot of credit in that aspect as well. And, I guess I shouldn't be super surprised with how quickly the chemistry has been built between Nikola Jokic and Russ, because they're both extremely intelligent, super computer brain basketball players. That's honestly probably why Nikola was such an advocate to get Russell Westbrook here in Denver, because I think they really think the game similarly. And you can see it. You can see it when they're on the court. They know what to do. They rarely make mistakes. So it's just been phenomenal and really cool to see just how well Russell Westbrook has fit in with Nikola in his 16th, 17th NBA season. He's playing every single game on the second night of a back-to-back. He's the highest energy player on the team. He's been phenomenal with the young guys on this team. He has been everything and more that the Nuggets could have envisioned when they signed this dude over the offseason. So really, really cool to see. Really great stuff from Russell Westbrook tonight. Again, two triple doubles in the same game. Joker goes for 35 points, 12 rebounds, 15 assists in his first game back after being sick. And Russ goes for 25 points, 10 assists, and 11 rebounds. Whatever sickness Nikola had, that didn't affect him whatsoever tonight. I was kind of waiting to see if Nikola started to slow down as the game went along, because we've all been there. When you have a sickness, it just zaps your energy. Even when you start to feel better, it kind of takes a couple of days to really get your energy back. Nikola didn't look like that at all tonight. He looked like he was as fresh as can be. So great stuff from the Nuggets tonight as they get the 124-105 victory over the Nets. They improved to 22-15 on the year. And coming up next for your Nuggets is, I already went on a rant about this a couple days ago. Thanks a lot, NBA. Sunday at 1 p.m. in Dallas, right in the middle of Wild Card Weekend. Appreciate that. I was talking to DMAC about this, and apparently this is the NBA doing a favor to the European market because it's the Jokic-Luka Doncic matchup. Now, okay, cool, fine, whatever. I don't even think Luka's going to be playing in that game. He's been out for a while. I don't even know if Luka's back yet or not. I'd have to check on that, but I know he was going to be out for at least a month, and that was, not that long ago. So, it'll be fun, though. The Broncos and Bills wild card game starts at 11, and the Nuggets and Mavs start at 1. Now, for your Sunday programming on digital channels and on our radio station, Altitude Sports Radio 92.5, we have a really cool Sunday set up for you all. And the Avs play tomorrow, by the way. So just this sports bonanza over the last week or so is going to continue into the weekend. So coming up on Sunday, starting at 9 a.m., we're going to have on the air our Altitude Denver pregame show from number 38. If you want to go hang out with the fellas or tune in, we'll be previewing Broncos and Bills. And then on our airwaves 92.5, starting at 12:30, you'll have the pregame show with Berto and Kaz leading up to Nuggets and Mavericks. And then from 8 to 9, we're going to have our Altitude After Dark here on our digital channels, and we're going to carry that on our airwaves on 92.5. So literally all day, we have Broncos and Nuggets coverage for you. And then obviously tomorrow we have Avs at the Winnipeg Jets. That's a big game because Winnipeg is leading the Central Division right now. So what a great weekend. Great start to the sports weekend for the Mile High City tonight as the Nuggets get the victory over the Brooklyn Nets. Then we've got Avs Jets coming up tomorrow. And then we've got Broncos Bills and Nuggets Mavericks on Sunday. So make sure to tune in, and Altitude Sports Radio has you covered all throughout the weekend for all of this stuff. So that's going to do it for the post-game show tonight. We'll see if I walk over to the Ogden. I haven't decided yet. I'll probably figure that out once I walk out the doors and see how cold it is. But excellent win for the Nuggets tonight. Again, they improved to 22-15 on the year. Triple-double for Nikola Jokic, triple-double for Russell Westbrook. That pairing looks awesome. You can't bench Russ. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great night.